The podcast monsters. I'm your host, Doug Bartlett. If you have a mind for business or you want to grow, we are the podcast for you.
First off, I'd like to tell you thanks for this weekend. This was a fabulous weekend. Really interesting connections and networking and knowledge, and the people that you brought to the table, the speakers were incredible.
Yeah.
How did you feel like it went?
I was really happy. I enjoyed, to me, the guest speakers were really good. And when I do masterminds in the general business stuff, I don't usually have guest speakers because my knowledge of just overall business is really substantial. When it comes to something like crypto, there's really specialized areas, and I feel like that it definitely served the people that were attending to have people that were like experts in one specific area. Like, for example, like Beatles obviously is a real early stage Bitcoin expert that understands it from sort of from the beginning of how it got to where it is right now. So he's got a good overall view. Someone like Chase here is like a jockey. He's like a crypto jockey. He's out there, playing the cutting edge of DeFi, and he's on the sort of the bleeding edge of things, right?
Yeah.
And then you have someone like Andra, who's VC related, raising money. And then we had Eric, who's that ran NFT Miami. I think was really enlightening. I think it was really good. And then of course my bookkeeper helped out with the security stuff. So I was really pleased with it. And also the attendees I thought were really strong too.
Yeah, it really is great networking. The attendees were amazing. I was really pleased by that.
A lot of guests come through the weekend, like just coming for a few days through the game. Robert Alexander, gaming expert. So it's just a lot of people coming and going.
Yeah, actually, Tony and I are going to be going to San Diego tomorrow to go watch a game with Boo.
Ah, excellent.
So it's like, dang, those connections happen fast.
Yeah, right.
You get introduced and something clicks, and there you go.
Great.
So really looking forward to that as well. Is there anything that you would have changed about it that you feel like that you'd do different next time around?
I don't think so. I mean, I was really happy with the way that it went.
You'd said that the institutional money is not directed toward the mining side of things because they're just looking at it more as a gold store, like, I'm holding Bitcoin. Are you seeing that that's just certain investors, certain VCs that are only looking at it like that?
Yeah, there's VCs for everything. I mean, he asked about Michael Saylor.
Okay,
that's what
so
he was talking
specific
about.
one.
Yeah, it was Michael Saylor, and I just don't think that's not Michael Saylor's strategy to be mining Bitcoin. He has an existing business that has nothing to do with Bitcoin, and he takes the profits and he invests it in Bitcoin. So there's some mining I think would probably cause him some problems with it with the SEC. It would be a completely different business. Right now it's he's not he would have to refile and get it's a big deal to there's change strategy so severely like that midstream.
Yeah, okay. I just was wondering if that was general sentiment in your experience, or
listen. I think that we're still in the early stages of this, and the big institutional money is still not in this yet, but there's still a lot of family office money. There's some VCs in it. It's just you're not seeing like the teacher's pension fund in that, they're being very, very, careful.
So if I were to want to go out and raise money from VCs or family money or whatever, where would you start if you were me?
Family offices for sure. I think the family offices and the VCs are and angel investors are the places that you can do best right now. Especially, I think the family offices are really where the money is at right now, because what's happening is there's this lower risk in token sales because people have liquidity pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So it's just easier to go to them and sell tokens than selling off equity in a company.
Okay. So would you go to somebody like Andrew to help find those family offices, or just start, digging in on Google and trying to find places to approach?
Listen, someone like the benefit of using someone like Andra is she has relationships with all of these places already. She's just been through a couple of really big cap raises. So if she sends the deck, it's going to get looked at.
Right. Okay.
It doesn't mean they're going to invest, right? Yeah. But it's certainly going to get looked at because they assume that she's taken the time to vet it. If it sucks, she wouldn't show it to them, right?
Yeah.
So she's got a major edge, but that's not to say that you couldn't do it yourself if you wanted to. You could.
Yeah.
Their family offices are always looking for deals. She's got to find a way to get in the door. I wouldn't just email them blind and call.
Right. Just be
and
persistent.
Network. It's going to conferences, networking events is really helpful.
Yeah. I mean, with the connections that I made today, I feel like that would get me in a lot of doors.
100%.
Yeah. So, to shift gears for a second, and the NFT side of things, you seem pretty skeptical about that whole market, just because of not having enough regulation currently. Could you kind of give a summary just for the people that are watching, like what your take is on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think NFTs are not going away. I think it's a huge market. I think there's money to be made in that market. I just don't think that this evolution of NFTs that we're seeing right now is the final form that we'll be seeing NFTs in 10 years from now. I think that we're going to look back at this moment and say, why would someone pay for a stupid sketch of a flower? Some of the stuff it's selling, it just doesn't make any sense at all. It's completely inflated. It's a bubble of all bubbles. And it's going to pop for sure, because they always do pop bubbles, right? But then there's good projects too, and the good projects will not disappear in a crash. They'll go down in value, but ultimately they'll come back. I think that NFTs, in terms of their ability to signify digital ownership, that's a crucial aspect of Web3, of what's happening now, which means giving power back to individual creators, the metaverse and stuff. So I think that the NFT market is going to be huge. I'm bullish on it. Just I'm very skeptical right now of a lot of the NFTs that are going out there.
Yeah.
They're mostly cash grabs.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I'm invested in some and I'm making money at it, but probably, not everybody is, I'm sure. Is there anything that stands out to you that you think of as a good project?
I mean, clearly you can't argue with the success that the Bored Apes have had. And they've just, they've taken something that was kind of like a joke, and they've made a lot of money, then reinvested it very wisely to build things that actually have value and are engaging. So their community grows and grows, and they're now doing their own metaverse and gaming. So I think that that's lightning in a bottle. It's like that's not like a duplicatable feat.
Right.
So, but I certainly, my hat's off to them. They've done great.
Yeah, I think that a lot of it's around building a community that has something that they're moving toward instead of just being, hey, here's a piece of art, right?
Exactly.
All the blinds off. What would you tell somebody that's first looking to get into crypto and the NFT space? What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, I'd say number one, start small for sure. Start small, invest what you can afford to lose, because you're probably going to lose everything. Now, if you just invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum, you're not going to lose everything. I'd be very surprised if you did. It might go down. It's probably going to go up, but no one really knows over the short term. But I would look at this as longer term plays. Don't try to buy and trade and outsmart the market, because you're going to lose. Don't use leverage under any circumstances. Just avoid using leverage, because you have to be really, really sophisticated and really set up for this and know the most cutting edge strategies where you're hedged, because these things move really fast, and with leverage, you could be out and sold out of your position in a second. That's one thing. Second, with NFTs, buy buy it more as an experiment for yourself at first, just to get involved and see what's going on. Once you put a few dollars in, then you'll get into a community and you'll see what's going on. You'll start to decide what you like. Most people don't buy this for the artwork. They're buying it for access to something, or they're buying it for pure speculation. So I would urge you to look deeper into communities and start very small. Yeah,
I think that's great advice, because I know that when I first bought my first few NFTs, we lost money.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we started small.
There you go.
And now it's paid off, because we've gotten to know what actually matters there. And for me, it's more about community and is there an actual roadmap that's meaningful that they're going to move forward with. And so, instead of cash grabs, here's a token among a million other tokens that's not worth anything in 5 minutes. What moved you from traditional business into crypto and NFT? What was the spark that made you switch your viewpoint on that?
Well, I'm still in traditional business. I still might have many deals that are not in crypto. There's just so many more deals in crypto. So much activity, so much hot money right now. So, at a certain point, they're banging down your door for stuff. And as I became bullish on it myself, why wouldn't I do it as a business? Whenever I do something, I always say, what's the highest form of this? What's the best way to go about it? And for me, to just sit there and make money on things and buy crypto in the market, it's like that would be sort of leaving all of the the edge I have as a brand and being financially sophisticated. It leaves it on the table. So the natural evolution for me was to get involved into the venture capital side and the consulting side, where I can bring value to companies and get tokens in exchange and get access to a lot of early stage deals. I have access to amazing deals, Series A's that the average just would never get. You
Right.
know, where they're selling tokens at 6 cents or 8 cents, they're going to list it 40 cents. You know, versus the average person would buy it at 40 cents or $1 after it was already out trading. So to me, it made a lot of sense to, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it full on.
Right. Yeah,
I don't
get
believe in
involved
doing things
early.
halfway.
Yeah, and where did you get that attitude from? Obviously, you don't believe in doing things halfway. Is there something from your childhood that moved you into that space where mentally you're like, I am going to go all in on everything I do? Or what do you think defines you to be able to be that person? Because not everybody is.
I think one of the things for sure is a belief that I'll succeed. Like when I'm thinking about going into something, I think what happens with a lot of people is they say, I want to be a big crypto trader. I want to be a big player in this market. But in their heart of hearts, when they project out a year or two, they don't really see themselves. They can't imagine it would actually work out. They're like, I don't really have the skills or the connections or the abilities to do this or the know-how. And so they say, what's the point of doing all the work when I'm probably not going to succeed anyway? In my mind, when I said that, you know what, I'm going to go into this, I had no doubt I was going to succeed at it. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to succeed at it.
Right.
But when I'm thinking it through in my own mind, it never would occur to me that I would not succeed. So that if that's my mindset, then my brain says, well, shit, if you're going to make so much money, it's worth it to do the work.
Right.
It's worth it to spend the time on it.
Right.
If you don't think you're going to succeed, why would you spend the time? I think most people lack confidence in themselves. It's not so much a fear of failure that stops them. It's a lack of belief that they'll succeed. So they say, shit, I can't see myself having that much success in crypto.
Yeah.
Why me? And so they don't take action. I do.
Yeah. I have a irrational belief that I can do anything that I want to, which most people look at me and like, you're retarded. What do you mean you couldn't be an astronaut? I could hell yeah, I could be an astronaut. I have to figure out a way to do it. I don't care that I'm 52 years old. If I want to, I can.
Exactly. So then when you're actually doing that calculation of should I expend the energy required to,
Right.
You'll say, yeah, I should, because I'm going to have all the benefits. If you don't think you'll receive the benefits, why would you do it?
Yeah, and that's like I said, some people think it's irrational, but to me, it's the only way to live life.
Yeah, I
because,
agree.
like, how else do you get there?
I agree.
And I think that also makes it to where you overcome obstacles really like better than other people do because you force yourself to be creative because you have this innate belief in yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, love it. I also kind of live by a saying of if you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not growing, you're dying.
Of course.
And I think a lot of people lose that too. So it's like, you
Yeah.
have to move forward and like continue to grow. What projects are you super excited about right now that you're involved in? Like, if there was something that you wanted to pitch out there and say, hey, this is something that I'd love for people to check out, or something that you're just excited about yourself. What do you got going on?
I don't recommend anything in particular that to go buy. I never do that. I never recommend tokens. I think if you want to do is buy Bitcoin, buy Ethereum, right? Yeah, and hold it. But I have a lot of things I'm really excited about, and especially in the stuff that's not trading yet publicly. So if I was going to advise you or anyone else to invest in things, they would almost certainly not be trading yet. They'd be early stage investments in companies that I think have great management. I'm very, very bullish on the gaming space right now. I think gaming's going to lead the charge into the metaverse. It's going to lead the charge into crypto. I think it's a crucial aspect of adoption around the world because the engagement's so high. So I'm investing, advising to multiple companies in this play to earn space. And I'm very, very confident that this is going to be a major paradigm shift in gaming, and it's going to lead the charge into the metaverse.
Yeah, it's a interesting space that I haven't explored very much, but obviously some of the people at the table over this weekend were deeply
Like I have one deal that Chase actually is involved in.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's called a joystick, and you can't buy it because it's not traded yet. But they're raising some money privately. Like to me, that's like if they're raising money privately at 8 cents, right? And when it goes out, it's going to trade 60 cents like the start. Like the first tick will be 60 probably. Let's see, they typically open up at 7. It's like, why would you go out and buy tokens that are already out there? I'd rather wait. I'd rather go private. The beauty of this stuff is that unless it really goes bad, it always gets listed on at least the DeFi exchange. So you have some liquidity on it, right?
Right.
So to me, it's like printing money. I think it's a really, really powerful way to make money if you're getting involved with solid companies.
Yeah. So, any business projects that you are personally working on, or is it more about VC investing in mastermind groups as your primary, your primary personal business focus?
I'm past the point in my life where I want to build a business myself. I've done it so many times. I'd rather help other people build businesses. So I own stakes in probably 25 different companies right now. So I have anywhere from 10 to 30% of a company, and it's more fun for me. I get to sort of I don't really want to deal with being bogged down with being a CEO of a company and having to manage. I did that, and I was really good at it, and it was fun when I was younger, but I'm a little older now, and I just sort of would rather pass that wisdom on to people that are going to manage and build and advise them and take my stakes and then move on and then, just develop a portfolio of early stage companies and just watch them flourish. And some will die for sure.
Any advice you would give me after our interaction over this weekend? Anything that stands out?
To me, it seems like you've got a pretty straight head about this stuff. You're pretty sober. Some people get whacked with this stuff. They're all over the place. You seem like very directed, and you know what you're doing, right? And you have a plan. You're looking at this more for NFT stuff, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
I would say to you, listen. I would certainly, I don't know. I don't pry with people. How much do you have saved? How much, right? But I would certainly, diversify. I think that is a very special time right now. It's not going to last forever, and that is investing in these early stage companies. Usually it's a risky business, and it's not to me at least. I find it to be significantly de-risked right now. We're investing in all these early stage token deals because at one point or another, and typically sooner versus later, you're going to get liquidity on these things, right? And you're getting in at prices that are so substantially discounted to the market that, you have to get some really shitty luck not to make a lot of money in this space. So I think that I would open up your eyes to that.
Okay.
I just think that, unless all of your capital is being deployed towards your own, the best place to deploy your capital is your own business.
Right.
If you believe in yourself.
Yeah.
But most people, they get to a certain point where they have enough capital.
Right, I'm at that point now.
That they don't need to. You have extra, and where do you put it, right? Well, to me, investing in deals before they list, it's just so obvious. So I think that you should open up your mind to that, and I just think that knowing you seem to the guy that once you do something, you start running with the ball with it pretty quick. I think you'd be really good at it and start getting yourself integrated into these networks and just get a lot of early stage deals, and I think you'd find it to be a very lucrative addition to what you're doing.
Okay, yeah, I think that's great advice because it's something I hadn't really considered as much, and I will definitely heed that.
As long as guys, everyone, it's all about the people who are running the projects. It could be the best idea in the world, and if there's a bunch of idiots running the project, they'll figure out a way to run it into the ground and steal your money, right?
Yeah.
If the idea is just okay and they're really sharp players, they'll pivot. Maybe it turns out like they thought it was great, but it wasn't so great, which happens a lot.
Yeah.
But they realize it quickly and they pivot. Yeah. And then they find something better. And, so great management, solid players with success behind them. I think that's just the most important part in this whole game.
Talking about that investing side of things, if I'm looking for a project, are you primarily looking for projects that are going to have some type of a tokenization so that you get that DeFi or that secondary exchange cash out opportunity?
Yes, I'm looking for that. That's what I'm looking at. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't invest in equity. I do. But it's just that the thing I'm discussing here about de-risking, this is the token side of the equation. And when you're buying equity in a company, then you are suddenly at the mercy of the rules of the stock market, which is far more difficult to get something listed and get it liquid, right? It has to actually work to some degree. It has to get more advanced and get listed and approved by NASDAQ or whatever it might be, right?
Right.
Right now, it doesn't exist in the world of crypto. These things literally can get listed overnight in a DeFi exchange, and you have liquidity. How much? It depends on the marketing. It depends on the management team behind it. But to me, I think and that's why it's so much easier to raise money in tokens right now versus selling equity.
Right, because you can go to market very quickly and have liquidity very quickly.
Correct.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. How long do you think it's going to be before that changes, before the government cracks down on this and really puts in more stringent rules, changes the game?
I'm going to guess a year.
Okay.
I hear about it. I think there'll be rules coming out sooner. But when they announce the rules, they first have to get debated and then implemented. They have to form a commission. And there's if they announce, let's say tomorrow they come up with the rules.
Right.
My guess is they would be implemented for like 8 to 12 months until they have to have some safe harbor periods and reporting. Then there's going to be a huge backlog of shit. They have to form new. I think they're going to probably form a new commission to regulate this. That will not. It'll not be the CFTC or the SEC. There'll be some joint new commission.
Right.
And I think that just will take some time. And I think this is sort of. I think we're in the last stages of the sort of Wild West. I think it's about to become a bit more like east of the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Like where it's still in the 1800s, still not the rule of law, but we're east of the Mississippi versus west of the Mississippi, where there's gunfights at the OK Corral.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot happened. Doesn't sound like you're really there as far as any particular project. If you got any upcoming masterminds you want to talk about, or
listen. I'm always I do these masterminds once in a while, right? I think the next one's going to be in London, maybe in Tulum or something. I'm doing one in Tulum, but. Check my website, see I'm always touring around the world. Most important thing I would say to you is just, get into this space, but start small and educate yourself. And don't listen to the idiots online who are telling you what coin to buy. They don't know. The reason I'm not recommending a coin is because no one knows. You understand?
Yeah.
It's not like that. You have to invest. I believe I know that over the long term, Bitcoin or Ethereum will trade higher. I believe that.
Yep.
And I'm long those. But I don't know what's going to happen next month.
Right.
Just don't know. So and I think when you go online, there's all these hucksters out there telling you, these are the 5 coins you need to buy to get rich this year. They're so full of shit. I mean, It's just nonsense. So, but that being said, it's a great business. There's a lot of money to be made. Just be careful.
Yeah. No, I think that's great advice. I've been long Ethereum since I started my mine and haven't sold any of it. I've used some of it to invest in NFTs and in and out of that a little bit, but still holding it in one form or another. So it's been a great space for me.
Awesome.
All right. Well, Jordan, thank you. I appreciate your time doing this.
My pleasure.
And I'm looking forward to hearing about future masterminds. I'd love to come to more in the future.
Excellent. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Take care.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss out on becoming a monster.